Welcome to Rauta's yet another classic review. Second in line, today we talk about heavy metal classic that actually celebrated its 25th anniversary earlier in 2017. The album in question is, of course, W.A.S.P's The Crimson Idol. Now, I don't have the original printing myself, so instead I'm gonna show you my reprint of the album with kind of a 2 CD version, but I will stick to the original track listing when I'm talking about the actual music. But nevertheless, let's take a look how this Crimson Idol with the original cover, of course, looks like if you're not familiar with the CD. So, like I said, this is a 2 CD version, so in my case this is actually a double CD where this second CD is filled with the bonus tracks, live mostly, or all, and the track list is hence this long with really small print as well. Here is the booklet, which I think is the same with even the re-idolized version that came out in, I think, September 2017. But the original version probably did not have this kind of story. I'm not totally sure, so don't take my word for that. Nevertheless, there are stories about this album because it's kind of a concept album. I'm not gonna go any more detail into that, because if you are familiar with Crimson Idol, you probably know the story way better than I do. I kind of never bothered to dig in deep into the story, reading all the material, because for me W.A.S.P has always been more about music and feeling rather than the whole concept. And I know that some people are upset or even offended. I didn't do it with this album either, but just try to get over with it. I'm talking about the music here, not the lyrics or other stuff, as it is usually the case with the reviews I'm doing. Now, W.A.S.P is a very special band to me in many ways. Nowadays, in a bad way, because of the Golgotha album that came 2 years ago, and which kind of underlined the fact that Black Lawless, being a full-time Christian now, it's also affecting not only his way of creating lyrics, but also the songs, it seems, because Golgotha, in my opinion, is way worst album by W.A.S.P ever. And it's also clear that W.A.S.P isn't exactly, playing these songs live anymore when they are not fitting his current ideology slash religion, which is a shame considering how good songs he and the rest of the band used to make back in the 80s and 90s. But that's about the past, and me being a W.A.S.P fan since like early 80s, there are lots of albums by W.A.S.P, basically everything except Golgotha, which are to my liking. But clearly there are better ones, and then there are these real great ones, and the best one, which is not, in my opinion, Crimson Idol. Crimson Idol, however, is on Metal Archive's site, for example, the most honored, valued, best reviews gun album by W.A.S.P, and for a good reason. Now, released 1992 originally, just a decade after the band was formed, it is their 5th album, and I guess to that point the most mature ones. If you take a look at the early W.A.S.P albums, especially the two first ones, the concept here is way more mature, it's more darker, and it's not so groovy, it's not so alcoholic infused. It's not about, kicking ass or doing babes or anything like that. It's just darker, it's kind of depressing even, but there is also lots of warmth within this album. Now this album actually starts with a interesting intro because it is not a typical intro, but then again it's not a full-blown song either. But it kind of builds up to the first actual song after the intro, The Invisible Boy, which kind of starts the engine slowly, but it's clear that it's real W.A.S.P song and something which kind of makes you getting prepared for the songs to come. Now, the fourth song, Changes Charlie, Murders in the New Morgue, is one of the most memorable W.A.S.P songs when it comes to the chorus and all that stuff. It's so groovy, it's so rocking, it's so metal, it's so kind of a hilariously brutal in the terms of the idea, but it's just a great song, which I think is the most essential thing on any album, no matter what the ideology, religion, or lack of, it's just that these kind of songs actually justify the release of just anything, be it a single or, compilation album or just whatever. Change of Charlie is, in my opinion, one of the best tracks on these albums, and that alone should, in my opinion, justifies people to check out this album. But it's clearly not the only one which is really great, because only a couple of songs later, Dr. Rauta is, heading your way, and it's almost as killer as a track as Change of Charlie. Now, pretty much every song on this album, in my opinion, are either real good or just awesome ones. There are no just okay songs, if you ask me. Not even the intro, which in my opinion, is way better than most intros on any heavy metal or whatever kind of metal there is. And when the album is finally over with the great misconception of me, I think it's just, great way to end an album in a kind of a gloomy and sad way, but also, still having this great power of metal music. Now there is also a very special song, Hold On To My Heart, which is then again a W.A.S.P ballad. And you might think songs like Forever Free or other, more softer W.A.S.P songs, and that what it actually is. It's kind of the opposite of what Change of Charlie and Dr. Rauta are offering on this album. And the same goes for the Idol song. They're kind of heavy and real moody stuff, and they don't have this heavy metal drive that is going through with this album. Now, I think these are actually the elements that actually make this album very good, because there are these strong moments and then there are these kind of soft tunes, but they wouldn't be as complete as they are now without their counterparts of sorts. And since the production, from all the way, sound engineering to the great vocals by Blackie Lawless and even some use of the synths, aside with the guitars and bass and drums, it's just near perfection. The only minor kind of I don't know if I can use the word mistake or even flaw, because they might be way too strong words in the use of this album, but the only thing which I don't like that much, especially when I'm listening to the album over and over and over again, is that there are these talking parts, this kind of a discussion conversation samples basically. Of course they're related to the concept of the album, and in that sense they kind of play an important part, but in my opinion they kind of take a little bit of the edge off of the whole album. Then again, they also create sort of rhythm, between the songs, when the actual whole track list builds up, they are here to kind of put a pun or, kind of dot in between them. So in a way, I kind of understand their meaning and I totally accept it. Well, there is no other way really, but I don't think they are that good when it comes to creating a full album. However, like I said, maybe even a word flaw is exaggerating my point here, because after all, they don't mean much when it comes to creating a really, really good album. So in my opinion, the Crimson Idol now 25 years and over, is one of the best heavy metal albums ever released. And if for some reason you or your friend who is into heavy metal has, for some peculiar reason, missed this album throughout the years, or haven't, given a full run of the track list, correct that mistake right away and enjoy the full ride of the Crimson Idol. And those who still haven't gotten this CD or LP on your collection, in your collection, sorry, but you still consider the album being worthwhile listening to, get the re-idolized version. It's really good with the kind of a special tracks, or at least get some version of this album to your collection, because it definitely is worth your every dime. That is my opinion of the Crimson Idol, and I hope you enjoy the album as much as I do. For me, it's pure 5 out of 5 stars thing, and those who just can't stand the W.A.S.P, there is no way I can turn your heads with this review. Thank you for watching, and please share your thoughts and comments and whatever on the comment box below. If you like the review, why don't you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it so far. I'm Jerry, and I thank you for your time watching the review here. More stuff coming to you soon on Rauta channel.